We all want to believe that money is safe. We look at our bank accounts, our salaries arrive, our cards still work, and we assume the system will continue like this forever. But history has shown us the same thing over and over again. No economic system lasts forever. From Rome to Byzantium, from the French Revolution to modern Lebanon, people woke up one morning to find that all of their savings were gone. The money they had worked for and put aside for years suddenly became meaningless. Because money, in the end, is built entirely on trust, and when trust disappears, the system can collapse very quickly. For example, Byzantium's gold coin was considered one of the most reliable currencies in the world for centuries. Merchants accepted it without hesitation, but over time the state began reducing the purity of the gold. At first nobody noticed. Then, people lost trust, and that powerful economy collapsed. The people who managed to protect themselves during that time were not the ones who blindly trusted the state, but those who held real gold, land, or tangible assets. We see similar patterns during pandemics as well. When the Black Death wiped out a large part of Europe's population, the economy was devastated, but the people who survived and still had resources found new opportunities. The same thing happened during COVID. While some people lost their jobs, those with cash-bought houses, stocks, and businesses, crises do not affect everyone equally. They widen the gap between the prepared and the unprepared. The great banking families of Florence were once seen as too big to fail. Then the massive loans they gave out were never repaid and they collapsed. People suddenly lost their savings. In reality, this has never changed. During the 2008 financial crisis and the banking crisis in Lebanon, people learned the same lesson. The money in your bank account is not completely yours. Wars can also destroy the value of money very quickly. During the American Civil War, both the North and the South kept printing more money. Especially in the South, inflation spiraled out of control, and people's salaries became almost worthless. The things that held value during that period were food, land, gold, and other real assets. The same story repeated during the French Revolution. The government introduced new paper money, and at first people trusted it. But as more and more money was printed, everything began falling apart. Markets stopped accepting paper currency. People demanded food and silver instead. Because during a crisis, everyone turns toward things that have real value. During the 1997 Asian financial crisis, countries collapsed under the weight of foreign debt. As local currencies lost value, people became unable to repay what they owed. Ordinary citizens suffered the most. And none of this belongs only to the past. Just a few years ago in Lebanon, people went to banks and could not withdraw their own money. The savings of an entire lifetime suddenly became inaccessible. That is why history tells us something very clearly. Systems are not as stable as we think they are. So what should people do? History does not offer one single solution, but it does point toward one common idea. Blind trust in the system is not enough. People can protect themselves by owning real assets, staying away from excessive debt, building multiple sources of income, developing productive skills, and learning abilities that remain valuable during times of crisis. Because money can lose value, but people will always need food, production, repair, and services. In fact, the greatest lesson history gives us is this. Crises are not only destruction, they are also massive transfers of wealth. Wealth moves from the unprepared to the prepared. So the real question is not, will the system collapse? History shows that at some point every system is shaken. The real question is this. When that day comes, will you be left holding promises or something with real value?